Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live high over the keep in the hot air balloon. Tonight, I have a very special guest, Sergeant Filthy McNasty, joining me in the co-host seat with Neindorf out on vacation. Sergeant, how you doing tonight?
Good. Nice, sunny weather for San Diego, so I can't complain. It's 90 something, and I'd love to say it's not humid, but you know, I challenge anyone to find a non-humid place this time of year. I guess maybe Phoenix, but I bet it's monsuno season in there, so I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like you can almost swim through the air right now where I'm at in the Midwest. Yeah, all right. So, I'll give my now customary therapeutic outlet for the move. And as soon as you jumped on, just a few moments ago before you started, you said, "How's it going?" And I said, "Oh boy." So yeah, things are progressing all right now. We're getting ready. We believe that we have the right amount of bids to talk to. So I'm helping the seller currently work through their roof problems. And we're working with insurance on that right now, and we have the right bids lined up for that. So it looks like we're gonna get a roof fixed. Foundation is not sliding down the hill, so we got that box checked off. And right now, I'm contending with trying to not clutter up the house, and having 4 Gen 1s makes that an infinitely impossible task. And so we're trying to get the house ready for pictures, and right now. So I was just telling Sergeant Filthy McNasty, my podcast zone in the basement has been moved around a bit here. So if I'm a bit out of my element, maybe this will bring some good luck when we do some community summons later tonight. Let's hope on that.
Yes. Well, it's having gone through the home buying process myself, I think the unsung hero is always that home inspector. Like you never really think about them, but boy, do they come through.
We got a good one for sure. So very happy with how our interactions have gone so far for the house I'm buying. It's kind of funny, you want a great one for when you're buying and a fast one when you're selling. That's for sure. All right, so I'm gonna put you in on the spot here. Can you give me a question of the day?
Yeah, no, it's so it's interesting. I know we were chatting before we came on live. Lots of happenings here in DFK within the last hour or two. Marketplace vendors sort of well established in Christovel training quests are out in the open. So I guess the $1 million question here is what are you all doing? What's your DFK strategy right now? Because there's no one good strategy, I imagine. Maybe a bad one out there, and I'm sure there's maybe more than one bad one, but there's a bunch of different good ones, and I'm really curious to know what you're doing specifically.
Yeah, that's such a great point, and that's one thing that I absolutely love about the community that's starting to form around DeFi Kingdoms. It's like you can have a lot of very viable strategies right now, and Neindorf and I keep coming back to this concept that. We constantly are curious to ask people, what role do you want your future to be in the game? So I'll answer your question. I won't dodge it here, but then I'm gonna throw it right back at you as well. I love thinking about my role in the game as am I going to be an item supplier? Am I a gardener? Am I a hero summoner? A combination of all of them. So where's my focus? So with that as a bit of the backdrop, and as I've mentioned plenty of times, I'm a huge supporter of the DIFKey program by Thanos. I'm a subscriber to that in the silver tier. I would it's absolutely a invest at your own risk, and of course all of my advice here is reckless speculation and reckless advice. So this is my own choosings, not financial advice for you. So with that said, I'm hanging out in Serendale for a while, and specifically I'm really addicted to these Serendale gardens, and with them I know there comes a certain amount of risk that you don't know if there's going to be another bridge hack out there, and we know there's pretty much been confirmation that the chain is moving to another chain. So I know that's going to, disrupt the apple cart at some point, but the amount of unlocked jewel that you get, and right now I'll jump over into it and take a peek. All right, yeah, 210%, 207%, and 191%. So that is Matic, FTM, and AVAX, respectively, with their returns, and that is like 93% locked jewel right now. And so that unlock rate is just absolutely fire, and I am addicted to that amount of that jewel coming in. Right now,
yeah.
my gardeners are pulling in then between, how good, depending on how good they are, maybe around 6 jewel per quest. So that is that's just too good to pass up. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm still doing a lot of summoning with my Gen Zeros, but really trying to focus on farming and building up that locked jewel balance. I believe that jewel will come back someday, maybe get up to $1. That's where I've told Neindorf that I'm going to start unloading with all this jewel that I'm accumulating. But that's enough for me. How about you, Sergeant?
It's interesting. I'm fully invested in the Jewel X Jewel liquidity pool in Crystal Vale. The rationale, and at this one I should probably move it for sure, but the original rationale, I've been fortunate enough to sort of catch some of these, I would say terrible moments in DFK history as they're happening. That was there, like when the flood storm happened, a few months ago. I was on Discord watching it happen, and I pulled my liquidity pool, my gardens. I pulled out of the garden sort of as a, CY just in case. I was watching the whole. I was on Discord when the whole Harmony stuff started happening. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pull out, and Jewel X Jewel just seems like a very safe play, and I say that with the knowledge that if you're in crypto, there's little reckless speculator in all of us. So
Right.
I guess for as for it being a safe play, who knows how safe it is, right? I'm betting on Jewel coming back up to $1, right? I would hope so. I've heard the two of you speak about maybe it coming back to $5, and I agree. Maybe that's where it lives. $22 ambitious. I don't need it to get back to 22
Yeah,
at this
moonshot
point.
now at this point.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tremendous moonshot. 22 would be great, right? But
Yeah.
at this point, what I want to end up doing, I sort of love your strategy. I think I want to start diversifying in Serendo, not because of necessarily what you were saying. I think you're the straw that sort of broke the camel's back in me. It's something I've been thinking about. I really see, some serious traction with a Serendo move here in the near future.
Yeah.
And I think that will make things a bit sort of safer. They've limited any Harmony sort of exposure. I think that's out there as far as any Harmony liquidity pools that you sort of invest in. So right now it's Crystal Veil and Hero Summoning. I'm trying. I was really inspired by Nine Dwarfs Dread Knight. I have a couple of Sage Dragoons I want to summon with at some point. And that's really where I'm at. I've heard some other great strategies though, and I'm happy to talk to those as well.
Yeah, I think this is kind of where as you're a frequent listener, so we ramble about. So let me throw a comment out there. I was a big proponent, I guess still am to a certain degree, of the Jewel X Jewel Garden. I absolutely love that safety as well. And it felt like, last week they threw down a bit of the Nerf bat on it, where they and I think it was I think it was a really smart play by the team, because that impermanent loss of being in the other because you really are shielded from impermanent loss with the Jewel X Jewel Gardens, and you're gaining so much APR, and that's where I was before. And I think it was actually a smart play to share the risk of kind of growth and success with the rest of the community by putting their incentives in other pools. So I actually, as much as it like kind of hurts me as an individual investor, I actually think it was a really smart play by the team.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually surprised as to I am and I'm not. There's a growing disparity between the price of Jewel and Crystal. I understand why it's happening. I'm sure you may have seen some of those messagings that have gone out about daily transactions
Mm-hmm.
in Crystalville. I mean, 1 million plus transactions, daily transactions.
Yeah,
That's fairly impressive. I was
very
looking at,
encouraging.
yeah, yeah. Harmony alone right now is doing just about 3 million daily transactions. I was looking at Polygon Matic. They're doing about 3 million daily transactions as well daily. Um, to think that, little old DFKs within DFK chains, amounting 1 million plus transactions a day, that in and of itself is pretty bullish.
Yeah.
And the question and I love playing devil's advocate with myself. I don't know if some of this sort of anti-botting stance sort of that the team's sort of taking, how much that's going to play into some of the these transactions. I suppose I imagine that there is maybe less impact within Crystal Bell because we didn't have any dueling there or raffles, any of that fun
There's no
stuff.
duels and there's no leaderboards over there, right?
I know exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's pure. That's it's I mean pure-ish. I'm sure there's people. Well, I know that there's people still botting over there, but there
right.
aren't the kind of broken incentives to support ridiculous transaction load. So I that gives me a whole and I'm glad you bring us to the name of the episode, Bull or Bear. Has me feeling bullish as well.
Yeah, no, and it's the tenacity and the never give up attitude that's really got me bullish. I mean, the things the team, the group has really gone through in the last several months is sort of enough to sort of take down um any old crypto project. The fact that they not only are surviving but in some ways thriving,
Mm-hmm.
building, expanding. That's impressive. And when I see that happening, I can't help but dump more money in there. Not financial advice, of course.
Yeah.
But geez, I mean, again, I don't know if $22 is coming back, and if it does, when that happens. But I just at these prices, I can't help but mowing in
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, I'll say I'm taking a very conservative approach to my future laddering profits efforts,
Hmm.
and I'll be pulling some money out at 50 cents. I'll be pulling some money out at a buck when we get to those levels. So I if it gets to to 22 someday, I'll probably unload all my heroes and ride off into the sunset. But I'm just hoping
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah. Oh, I hear you. No, absolutely. So I know we've talked a bit about, our jewel crystal sort of, strategy. What's your hero strategy right now? I mean, what are you doing with your heroes? I know you said you're summoning, but I'm sure there's a rhyme and reason to the chaos behind just endless summons.
Yeah, well, I mean, generally, I would say it probably ties to my overall bullishness of the game. I very carefully planned out when I got I got back into the Gen Zero market, um, right around when it was $1, and there was a whole bunch of FUD about the game, and it felt like the Gen Zero market just absolutely tanked. I mean, I don't think it's recovered much from then. But there was a lot of really good Gen Zeros out there for sale. And so I have three DR1 Gen Zeros. And so right now, my summoning strategy is around, trying to make paladins
Mm,
because I have a warrior and a knight that are DR1. And then I'm buying the match of a dark knight, and I'm going for dragoons. And
yeah.
I think overall my idea has always been with this game, how do I set up my hero stable best I can for getting ready for combat? And so my summoning kind of goes to meet two ends. And as I've talked to Neindorf about this before, I have like what I would call the dumbbell curve instead of the bell curve. The dumbbell curve where you keep the heroes on the two ends of the spectrum. And so I'm keeping my really kind of weak throwaway heroes, like I'm going to throw them out there to go do profession quests, go haul in the items. I need to start making more stand pots. And on the other end of the spectrum, I'm keeping my mythics that I summon, and I want to make sure that I'm grooming them to become the strongest heroes that they can to help bolster up my, whether it's dual strategy, DFK Fight Club, or whatever the eventual full combat system is in the future.
And that's you bring up an interesting point that I've been meaning to ask you. So I'm glad we're being, we have the opportunity to talk through it. I've spoken to a few DFK players who have gone the route of emptying out their liquidity pools and going all in on DFK by buying a couple Gen Zeros. Is that and I know you were in it, you left the Gen Zero market and you got back in it. As far as ROI for you, I mean, there's the immediate ROI, and that you can debate whether or not it's used right now, but your big picture ROI, I mean, how have you mapped that out, and where do you think?
Yeah.
I guess the question I'm asking is, if you were going to redo it again, would you repurchase those same Gen Zeros you have now?
Great question. I've actually been thinking about selling one of my Gen Zeros because
Really?
I feel like the rental market and floor price for 10 out of 10s is a little broken right now. And by that, I mean the rental market is higher than what the floor of the 10 out of 10 market is. And so there's a non-zero chance that you could lose money. And so, in other words, a non-convoluted way of me saying that. Come on, Raph. You could, if you roll a common hero and you get a recessive class, you have a pretty fair chance, and their profession isn't mining. You might lose money by renting with one Gen Zero right now, and so that has me feeling, I would say, a bit cautious about having three, or kind of the odd man out. And so I might be looking to spin one of those into Jewel to throw back into the Gardens. And so my overall idea, I guess, the way that I look at Gen Zeros, I think you gotta, as long as you have a long run strategy in mind, and because probably, and I don't know this, but I think in Sarandale, like if you were to put all the jewel that it would cost you for a Gen Zero, now again, not financial advice at all, and someone can correct me on the math here, but I'm fairly certain that you would net more out of the Gardens if you compounded those gains than you would get out of summoning. And so it's like, how do you want to position yourself? I think there could be a few paths where summoning might make more sense in the long run if you're really bullish on the game and you have a giant army of high level questing heroes that you could eventually offload, or if you really believe in like heroes being a supplier to all the items that are needed for the game. You could almost think of it as more of like a transfer of like, instead of having money in a checking account, put it in a long-term savings account.
Yeah.
But I would guess from an ROI perspective, you're probably better off having it in the Gardens than you are having it in a Gen Zero, but I haven't done the math in a little while.
And to your point, it brings up another strategy I had heard of, right? Where the idea that heroes currently are really undervalued. And sure, you've got your floor heroes, but even more so, taking that to the next level. I've seen the strategy whereby people are hey, I can spend X amount of jewel to summon that really good hero I want, or I can take that same amount of jewel and guarantee myself a purchase of a 10 out of 10 Mythic Monk, right, or Mythic whatever,
Hmm.
to the Mythic market being a bit undervalued, and that being a strategy in and of itself. Um, it's sort of an interesting way to see it, right? You can spend your time and effort trying to summon the hero you want, or you just go out and buy it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you think of that.
Yeah. Mythic markets. It's not as low as it's been ever, but I would agree. And you get those level 5, level 10 boosts, and that's actually something that I think I'll have here on stream later tonight, or maybe when we do our community summons party. My thief, Bjornstar, as you know him well.
Mm-hmm.
He's about ready to go from 9 to 10. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
really excited about this level up. So we got a lot to cover tonight, and we're gonna do a community summons over in Discord afterwards. So let's jump into the vendor changes, and let's talk about
That's
this, Greg.
exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, really exciting. So essentially, they've put a floor price on items, and that is an escalating floor price now based on sale. And so each time an item is purchased, I'm just reading straight off here of vendor. What's her name? Or the vendor guy name over here. He does not have a name. He's just vendor. All right, so each time an item is purchased from Zeta, the item's price increases by 200 gold. So it tells you what the next price is going to be. For each minute that the item is unsold, the price decreases at a constant rate of zero point 0.2 gold per minute, and that rate increases each hour of being unsold. So it's a bit of a quickly moving, decreasing curve. And so at for zero point 0.2 and 200 gold here, it would take 40 minutes for the price to normalize again. And if the price has gone up a lot because of repeat purchases, then in hours 2 and hours 3 and hours 4 it would start coming back down again. So I think this is a really clever, creative mechanism that helps allow users to not have to sell through the liquidity pools, which can be a little challenging at the moment, and keeps like gold transactions a little more, in game. In some ways, it's almost a little more centralized. It's funny to see that gold eggs are already up to 57,000 gold. So that's funny that there must have been a demand for gold eggs already that was a steady stream of people buying gold eggs, because you'd think as soon as this came out, people would be looking to potentially offload those gold eggs as the price is going up. And so either people were always continuously demanding gold eggs, or people are really speculating on gold eggs becoming a lot more expensive in the future, and they're trying to buy up as many as they can right now. So that's just like a really fascinating concept to me. I always wish I was an economic or an
I know,
economist.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not smart enough for that, so
Oh,
I don't know.
neither
Yeah,
am I.
so what's your what's your take
Yeah,
on the item changes?
I smell, and what I think is happening. I'm speculating here, but I'm betting that some people are trying to they see this and they think arbitrage opportunity. So they're
Uh huh.
betting that 57,000 is underpriced for gold eggs. I'm gonna buy some today, and I'm gonna sell some next week or whenever, and sort of flip eggs at that, with that rationale. Same thing for some of these other items. I can't help but think that. Is it happening? Is it not? I don't know, but that's my bet. I think that's what people may end up doing. If I wanted to, be a bit more reckless with my with my jewel, I suppose that might be a route I would take too. Um, I'm trying to play the safe, unsafe bet, so that's not something I'm gonna look at necessarily. But I just, it leaves yourself open for that. I think it's super cool. You're also setting, supply and demand, right? It'll be interesting. I'm excited. I think it's great.
I'm really excited as
More
well.
gold utility. More gold utility is what I see too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it'll continue to bolster the value of miners as well. So, all right. Well, we've gotten through the meat of what we really wanted to cover today. Is there anything else you want to go through?
Um, I have a summoning pair I want you to take a look at. I want your advice. I've gone into the ADFK sort of chat and sort of asked for suggestions, but I want to hear from you, see what you think.
Yeah.
My
Do you want
question
to
is,
share your screen and bring it up on screen?
yeah, let me do that. Give me a second. And while I do that, um, I actually found the summoning pair through your site. Super bullish on your site for sure. Um, I like to go old school. It's sort of the way I like to kill time. I know there's a bunch of automated ways that I could go about it, but I like doing the one by one, especially when it's dragoons and sages. There aren't so many of those for sale to begin with, so it lends itself to that. But um, I found the pair that way, and let me go ahead and share my screen, see if I can do that here. Give me one sec.
And you'll have to give me a moment to bring it up. I had to switch Discords as well.
No worries. And I have hero IDs. Let me see. Dragoon.
All right, over on YouTube, shout twice if you can't hear us anymore.
Let's see. Can they hear us?
All right, I think I can see your screen. Let me see if it's showing up on OBS. Should be now. Okay, so we should have your pairing live.
Okay, perfect. So I
Ugh,
think it's
this is
different
hot.
here.
We are getting ready for Summons Night. I will tell you, my heroes are like a bunch of co-eds ready to go on spring break. I mean, they are rip ready and roaring to go on Summonings Night tonight. So I have a few pairs out there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see your pairs too here.
I don't have anything this high level, so I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, so check this one out. So I've got a fishing sage, pretty, whatever looking, I suppose. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the hero ID number. And let me put these in the actually I have it up. So and I'll share that screen here in a second. So the sage, I've got this mining dragoon with strength and endurance boosted.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
Pretty nice, right? But then
Yeah.
check this out. I think this is what, I saw this and I was like, no way this is here available for me to be able to summon with. So I'm gonna share this screen here. Let me know when you can see that.
All right, came up. Whoa, we got a lot of orange here.
I know, right? I saw the orange and I was like, I need to jump on this. So my $1 million question for you is, do you wait to level them up to level 5 or 10, or do you just go in now and summon with them? I don't know. I mean, and again, non-financial advice, but I'm sort of perplexed. I don't know what to do here.
Yeah, I think so. There's a potential play to be had that's like, taking your high rarity 10 out of 10s up to level 100 and then like going to sell them because everyone else got anxious and used all their summons up. And I think
Wait 5 years.
the other school of thought is the time value of money, and you have an opportunity right now to summon with these heroes and to start either putting them into the professions to start earning you items, or to sell them and to flip them and to make something else. I mean, since you already have the heroes and you're looking at these level stats, what level are each of these guys right now?
Let me see. Double check here. I think we've got a level 3 and a level 1.
Okay.
So I mean, level 3 is closer to 5, but it's gonna be a minute.
So my personal preference on these heroes is I would honestly take them up to 5. I think right now it's like the small compromise of the time value of money
Yeah.
for a major level up gain in terms of total amount of stats that you get.
Right.
I mean, you get that +2 stats. I mean, I guess it's not entirely significant in the long run, but if you rolled a legendary and you had like a level 4 and a level 5, you'd be like, oh no. And
Yeah.
and it's it's not just the Dread Knight. It's you could get a legendary Sage or you could get a legendary Dragoon.
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
I believe your percentages are around 75% chance of getting a Dread Knight, a Dragoon, or a Sage. Now, of those percentages, I think it's only about a 14% chance that you would get a Dread Knight. So that's pretty low. But, the other 50 of the 75, 51 is, either the Sage or the Dragoon. So you have a really high percentage chance to get a elite class hero or above, and that is, I mean, that's exciting. And so that's where kind of our Neindorf and our strategies have been also like go out and buy the stones as well. And I would say if you can swing it, get the even the greater stones or at least the regular stones. Don't waste your time on the lesser stones, but get that extra boost out there. And if you feel like you can swing it on the greater stones, then maybe you don't even wait for the level 5. Maybe you just go ahead and go.
Yeah, no, if I had a greater stone, I'd say let's do it. Let's do it right now. I will come back and I will do it on your show because I really want I want the good the good mojo to sort of bless this Dread Knight potential. I mean, I don't know how often.
And I'm being
you
corrected
sort of
here
get.
by YouTube, thankfully. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. 7% chance at Dread Knight.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm losing my marbles here.
No worries. I blame it on the move. It's okay. No, but this is impressive. I mean, I was really impressed and really excited when I saw so much orange on the screen. Like, no way. I don't know how often this happens. I'm sure it happens often enough, but um, it was like a Saturday night, and I was sort of killing time, and I saw the pair, and I was like, I'm gonna jump on it. I'm gonna do it. Um, that's great.
And
And I
also
like
our YouTube. Sorry to interrupt.
mm-hmm.
We're having trouble with this internet quality here, so we're experiencing reduced quality. So we're getting flashes in and out, and YouTube isn't seeing this. I don't know. Maybe they're cutting off my internet.
Or my internet. So I'm gonna stop sharing so that we go away from the flashes here.
Yeah.
That's okay. No, that's great. You look at the stats and it's sort of an odds game. But yes, there's a potential for a Dread Knight. It could be a minor. It could have boosted endurance and strength. I mean, I like my odds. I don't know if I'm that lucky though.
And I think that's the great thing about having a Sage and a Dragoon that have those 3 orange skill pairs, though, is that like even if you strike out on the stat boost and strike out on the profession, you could strike with getting an advanced class on one of those, and then they become super, I think, and this is obviously the reckless speculation part, but they become super valuable later on. So
Yeah.
that's something that I don't know, I think is pretty neat. So I think you got a great pair there.
Yeah, one and I will say kudos to the website. It was super helpful and fine. You go, there's a bunch of bunch of Dragoons, bunch of Sages out there, but it's not just about. I guess you can try and summon for a Dread Knight, but if you can do that and then shoot for advance, advance active 1, 2, etc. And maybe the right profession and potential stat boost. Why not go that route? You can really equip someone to go from a very average summon to a pretty darn perfect one.
I hear you there. All right, so I'm looking at doing a level up here right now, and I'm running into some weird technical difficulties where my level 7, it's funny, like I can't I can level him up on mobile where I started it, but I can't complete the level up here on my computer.
I've been having issues all day today with I'm fairly certain it's not a DFK issue. I'm
Oh
believing
yeah,
that it's a Harmony issue.
I'm pretty sure as
Um,
well. But here's the
so,
rub, is that when I look at my inventory here on the computer, I went ahead and used for this level up one of my atonement crystals, and I had 3, and now I have 2. So the atonement crystal has been used, but here
no
I am entering
way.
the circle, not completing the ritual. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to complete the ritual on my phone. I have that up, and we're going to then refresh and see what I get from my monk ninja level 7. And here's my my thief. He's very close. So we'll actually probably go ahead and do this over on Summons Night. So we'll close the podcast out, have everyone else join us on Discord to level him up to level 10. I got to do some stamp pots here, anyways.
I
So
hear ya.
I chose to do the Atonement Crystal. I wanted to boost that HP. I feel like he's pretty strong HP already. All right. I leveled up, and I got absolutely rugged.
No.
I got 4 stat points
No.
on this
Oh, that
level up to
hurts.
level 8. Yep, I
That
got 4
hurts.
stat
Oh
points.
boy.
I got 3 strength and 1 endurance. And so here, you're going to watch this. I have 128. That is going to go up to 132.
No.
And it is going to
Oh
feel...
boy.
you are going to shed a tear. And now everyone
Wow.
on Summons Night is going to be a little nervous about going because I brought in some really bad luck here.
You know what? Now I'm coming
Or
to the
maybe
conclusion.
I just got the bad luck out of the way. Yeah, so level 8, 132 here, folks. So, strength. Okay, so I'm going to try to find some silver lining on this. Strength is what I needed because that was that was 13. So that was my weakest of the stats. And with my monk, I'm trying to become a generalist. But I can't believe I got 4 on my level up. This is I would say a flat rug. There's no other
And
way.
you think of how much time and effort goes into these. It's both the best and worst thing about leveling up. When it's good, it's great, and when it's bad, it just hurts.
Oh, this is painful. Very painful. All right, well, yeah. So don't worry, folks. I got the bad luck out of the way, and we are going to be ready to do Summons Night over on Discord channel. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the description here in YouTube. Let me do that here real quick. And come join us. We're going to summon a whole bunch of heroes.
We'll see you there.
All right. Well, Sergeant, thank you for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. It's been a long time since we hung out on your podcast.
I know. Thank you very much. Pleasure being on. Super excited to have been here. I'll end with DFK LFG. So hopefully the next time we end up chatting jewels at that $1, and I've gotten my Dragoon Sage to level 5, so I can come and summon that Dread Knight I've been wanting. So.
There you go. All right. Great. Have a good night.
Have a nice one, guys.